Listen, when I first got started building out email marketing channels for CPG and e-com brands, there's a million and one different things I wish I knew. Well, in this video, I'm going to break down the top 7 things I wish I knew when I first got started building out email marketing channels for CPG and e-com brands combined. So the first thing I wish I knew when I first got started with email marketing is designing my emails off of Klaviyo. Now, for those of you who don't know, Klaviyo is just your ESP, email service provider. There's a bunch of different options. You got Klaviyo, you got HubSpot, you got MailChimp, you got a bunch of different services out there. It's just the medium which you send your emails out to. But whatever medium you use, HubSpot, MailChimp, Klaviyo, whatever it is, one thing I will say is you're very limited on the things you could do designing wise on that ESP, on that provider. Now, the reason I say that is because obviously those ESPs, those email service providers, aren't really meant to be the ones designing the emails. I mean, although you have some templates that you could start off with, they're not really meant for you to design the emails on there. They're more for you to take advantage of their services, to take advantage of your actual sending your emails out, and the best ways to use it, like segmenting, pop-up forms, all that sort of stuff. But it's not really meant for designing. So one of the biggest changes I made, especially halfway into my email marketing, was changing it from Klaviyo off to an actual designing-based platform. Now, obviously, there's a bunch of different options. You could use Canva, you could use Figma, Adobe. There's a million and one different options out there. Personally, I love Canva. I think it's very easy to use, very simple. But whatever designing platform you use, I highly suggest you just do it off of Klaviyo or whatever your ESP is. It's not really meant for that. Just do it off Canva, do it off Figma, do it off Adobe, do it off a designing platform, and then just download that file, download those projects, and then put it onto Klaviyo, and then just send out those emails through that ESP. So again, the first thing I wish I knew when I first got started is designing my emails off of Klaviyo, off my ESP, and designing it on an actual designing-based platform. So the second thing I wish I knew when I first got started making emails is using other brands' emails as inspiration. Listen, I think a lot of people when they first get started, they think, like, oh, I have to make everything by myself, or, I have to, create these emails on the fly, or everything has to be made by me. And in reality, think of it like this. Liquid Death, Olipop, Gymshark, Lululemon, right? Even Prime, all those big CPG and e-com brands, they have a team dedicated for email marketing. Heck of a lot better than probably you are now, right? I'm just gonna be honest. But one of the main things to do is okay, understand that those people are better. Use their emails, use their email designs. It's up for free. You could either subscribe to their actual email list, or even better, you could use a platform like Mail.com or really good emails to see free emails. Because what's gonna happen is once you start designing that email, even though you're copying it from that actual, designing template or whatever their email actually looks like, what's going to happen is you're going to get a spark of ideas halfway in or a quarter of the way in or just as you're designing it. And then from that point, you're going to move off the actual email designing and you're going to make that email your own. The third thing I wish I knew when I first got started is sending out to my entire list. Very simply, if you send out to your entire list, it's going to crash your deliverability. Like amateur people that have never even launched an email before, is they'll think that, okay, man, I got to send out to my entire list. I got to maximize my effort, right? Obviously, and I understand you want your email to be shown to as many people as possible and be open as many people as possible, right? But the problem is if you have 1,000 people in your list, for this example, I guarantee you not everybody in that list is going to open your email, nonetheless see that email. People just don't either, have the same email anymore, they just don't use it, or, a very common thing that could happen is that, they go into your email, they look at your pop-up form, they're like, oh, okay, they're window shoppers. They're like, oh, I got to take 20% off. And at the end of the day, a week later, once they get one of your emails, they're like, oh, I never wanted this thing in the first place, right? So what I highly suggest instead is building out your email from the start, right? So instead of saying okay, I'm going to send out to my entire list, create a segment in your ESP, whether they be Klaviyo, Adobe Klaviyo, MailChimp, HubSpot, one of your ESPs, and just make a segment of people that have opened your email in the last 15 days and just send out to that list. What that's going to do is going to make your open rates go a lot higher and improve your deliverability so that a week or two later, once you get your open rates on an average of at least 50%, then you can move on to your 30-day list. Then it's going to go drop down to like 30, 40%. Then keep sending to those people until your open rates get up to 50 again. And you do that again and again and again from your 15-day to your 30-day, 45-day, 60-day, 90-day, 120-day. But again, just make sure you don't send out to your entire list. Start small, start with this 15-day segment, work your way up to 50% open rate, and then work your way up again and again and again. Now listen, if you want to skip all these little mistakes and things I wish I knew when I first got started, you want some more personalized help with your email channel, just go out and reach out to my team. We help CPG and e-com brands scale their business using email marketing on a 100% commission basis. All the information's on the description. Just check it out. Proof's in the pudding. You could check it out and book a time with my team to see if we could help. Anyways, moving on to the fourth thing is focus on the structure, not just the design. What I mean by that is is the email itself persuading, right? Do you actually follow the, the rules of persuasion, or, marketing, sales, all those sort of things? Is it a valuable piece of information? Do people actually get a lot of value out of it? Are they getting educated? Are they getting entertained? Follow a structure of when you're making an email of like, okay, is this something that people actually want to see? Is it valuable? Is it entertaining? Is it valuetainment? Is it edutaining? Make sure that that not only all the emails that you send out are very valuable, right? And again, even if you send your promotion ones like on Black Friday or at a Christmas sales, anything like that, make sure that it's actually valuable. Is it an offer that people actually want to make? And of course, it's different if, you're an agency or a freelancer, you can't really decide on those discounts. Or if you're in charge of actually making the offers for your email designs, I would highly suggest make it something that people actually want to get, right? A really big offer, buy two, get one free offers work really, really well, I found out. But again, just follow a structure. Is it something people want to open? Is it valuable? Is it entertaining? Is it educational? Over the long run, especially, it's going to help you out making a lot more sales than if you just keep sending promotional based emails. Follow a structure, make sure it's emails that people actually want to open, and you're going to be fine. The fifth biggest thing I wish I knew when I first got started is making your email channel as a whole complete. Okay, what I mean by that is like, don't partially have your email channel set up. Don't have like certain flows or campaigns that are kind of set up. You have, your welcome flow with like 1 or 2 emails, and you have your abandoned cart flow with like 3 emails, or, your abandoned checkout flow with like 1 email. And then all the stuffs are like, it's a very quick send out rate. You don't have days spacing out between each email for your flows. Make sure that your email channel as a whole for your brand specifically is completely set out. It's going to make a lot of things go easier in the long term, right? If you have a system that's clearly set up from the beginning, and you're making sure that every email that gets sent out is a very chronological order, it's completely set up, it has the right subject lines, it has the right time delays, it has all the right things and components to it, it's going to make your email channel as a whole flow a lot more smoothly and make a lot more sales. Some examples of that is obviously with your campaigns. Do you have a campaign calendar, right? Are you sending out emails every other day, or are you sending out like once a week, twice a week, right? Or every other week, right? Another thing is your pop-up forms. Are you constantly testing pop-up forms? Are you constantly testing different offers, right? Raffles, giveaways, discount off, percentage off, free giveaways, things like that with your pop-up forms. Your segments, right? Are your segments properly set up? Are they actually sending out to your 15-day engage, 20-day engage, 30-day engage, right? Are you excluding people that just bought in the last 7 to 10 days from every email that you send out? But again, just make sure that your email channel as a whole is very structured and it's very complete. Make sure that each email is correctly set up and it's not bare bones. You actually have a strong skeleton, you have a strong foundation, and everything's being tested properly. The sixth thing I wish I knew when I first got started, and by the way, this is like very neck and neck with 6 and 7. At any day I could probably switch it to 7, is synthesize. This is by far one of the most important things you could do with any type of brand. And this goes outside of email marketing, right? If you're learning anything, fitness, if you're doing business, if you're doing coaching, if you're doing, I don't know, building you're a mechanic and building cars or fixing cars or something. With anything you do in life, synthesizing your results and your data is so important, right? One thing you could obviously do is just keep sending emails out and just out and out and out and out again and again and again. But the problem is if you don't look back at the data you get, okay, man, I sent out 100 emails. What are the top 20 ones? What are the worst 20 ones? What are the commonalities between the top 20? What are the commonalities between the worst 20? And then see what are the most common factors between each one. And this is so valuable because obviously it's like that 80-20 rule. The 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. Probably all the revenue you generate probably are only coming from 20% of your emails. And look at those emails. See what's the most common things, right? And it's different for every brand. Obviously, you have certain commonalities and traits between all industries. But even with your own specific brand, some text-based emails work better for you guys than, a design-based email, right? If I personally send out an email like every other day, it's going to work better than if you send out an email, every, once a week, twice a week. For some brands, sending out, 2-3 times a week is good. For other brands, sending out, 4 to 5 times a week is good. And there's multiple different things you could test, right? Colors, offers, tones, styles, editing choices, right? Designing aspects, right? Designing ratios. There's 1,000,001 different things you could do with your actual email designs to make sure that you can actually synthesize it properly and correctly. But again, just look back at your data, look at the actual results you've been getting from that, and from the results you get, moving on from that point, make sure your emails from that point adjust accordingly from the results and data you've gotten. So again, the 6th biggest thing I've ever learned with email marketing is synthesize. And the 7th and last biggest thing I wish I knew when I first got started is get your reps in. Like the last thing I just mentioned, synthesizing all your emails, that's very important. But if you have nothing to synthesize, it doesn't matter. this is especially big, and I even mentioned this in like my first YouTube video ever, but like when you get your reps in, when you get your first email marketing designs out, they're gonna look horrible. Like, the first email design I've ever made looked so bad, it looked like a scam. It looked horrible, trust me. And I should make a video on that email design by itself and alone. But as a process of just getting my reps in, obviously synthesizing, but just sending emails again and again and again and again, getting my reps in, over time, 90 days later, it's gonna help exponentially. The results you get are gonna be a lot different, right? The emails you make now are gonna be so much different than the emails you first made. Why? Because obviously you synthesize the results, but also just because you get your reps in. Don't be shy, don't shy away from making emails that are bad. Obviously, the first time you're going to start, they're probably going to look bad, but it's when you get your reps in. Once you do it again and again and again and again, then that's when you're going to see a difference over time. And more importantly, you're going to get better with each iteration. So if I could say with anything, and this is probably one of the most, if not the most important thing I've ever learned, is just getting your reps in. And it's by far one of the most important things I've ever learned in email marketing, if not the most important thing I wish I knew when I first got started. Anyways, those were the 7 things I wish I knew when I first got started with email marketing. If you have any questions at all, comments, concerns, whether you're a freelancer, agency, or just a brand itself, feel free to ask them. I'm an open book. Just ask them, DM me, or, go on whatever platform you're seeing this video on, and just leave a comment, description, all that sort of stuff. I'm happy to answer. If you have your own CPG brand or e-com brand that wants to scale their business using email marketing on a 100% commission basis, just reach out to my team. All that info is in the description, ixmedia.biz, proofs in the pudding. Just check us out and you can book a time with us there. Anyways, I hope this video was enjoyable. I hope God blesses you in every way possible. This is Alexander Jimenez signing out. Peace.